Testing. Oh man, always technical issues. Okay. Hello everyone. 11:55 p.m. on March 20th, 2022. And so sorry for being late again. So had lots of things. This will be a short stream today. So these are the COVID updates I got so far. These things keep changing, even though the news have been a little slow with COVID. But now we're seeing cases go up and hospitalizations and deaths go up in Europe and Asia. So we have to watch out for that. All right. Anyway, so one thing that I got actually earlier today, I got it through I got it through from a feed. It was a notification. So JAMA had a study that did a Johnson that collected well that there was a study on the Johnson vaccine, the J&J vaccine. And according to this JAMA article, so that's Journal of American Medical Association, they found that the Johnson vaccine, even though it has a lower efficacy rate, the vaccine immunity actually is has stronger durability, has more durability as opposed to the mRNA vaccines. All right, mRNA vaccines has much more higher efficacy than Johnson technically. However, when it comes to the length of immunity, it's shorter with the mRNA vaccines. So those are your Pfizer and Moderna. Pfizer being the worst of the two. Okay, and we kind of underestimated with Johnson, and what scared us kind of is the risk of the blood clots. So that's why there was a pause there, and then we found out that you need a booster. Now in this case, this is from what I read. I believe it's just one dose has a 76% efficacy in preventing COVID and 81% efficacy in preventing hospitalizations. I mean, it's not 90% or anything like that, but any protection is better than no protection. No, again, nothing's 100%. I already described. I'm gonna bring back my favorite slide if I can find it because I have so many slides. It is this model that I'm talking about. This is the Swiss cheese model. This one. So why you still need to mask up vaccinated or not? And it's not just you know vaccine and getting vaccinated or fully vaccinated, boosted in this case, but also washing your hands. Trying to reduce the amount of time you're in a crowd, the testing and tracing, getting educated. If you get sick, quarantine and isolation, and trying social distancing. Of course, how could you forget that? I live in New York City. How can you social distance? Doing the cough or sneeze, doing this. Okay, so multiple layers are important. Even if the vaccine is 100% effective, I don't think it's realistic to get to 100% for everything anyway. So that's why you wear a mask. Okay, and you can't put all your eggs in one basket and just focus on one layer. Okay, because each layer has holes. So the more layers you put in, the less likeliness that for that virus to get to you. So that's a little bit of a refresher. If you've seen my streams from the very beginning, you'd see. All right, and let me get back to this. Okay, so in addition to that, because the Johnson vaccine has that kind of durability and its immunity wanes a lot slower than Moderna or Pfizer, J&J has the lowest breakthrough cases of all the three vaccines. So it's lower than Pfizer and Moderna. Moderna's in the middle. And this is especially to Omicron. I actually have other notes I forgot to put in. But anyway, here it is. So So as of the week ending of January 22nd of this year, so when it comes to breakthrough infections, Johnson & Johnson only had 650 breakthroughs for every 100,000 people. Moderna had 757 per 100,000, and Pfizer had the most at about 862 per 100,000. So yeah, it's about, I believe, two thirds. It gets two thirds less. It's two thirds of the total breakthrough rate in terms of yeah, in terms of the frequency of the breakthrough infections. Now, though, despite this longer immunity and all that, there's still that TTS rate that we have to be concerned about, the thrombosis with thrombocytopenia syndrome. Basically, it simply put, the increased risk of blood clots. And according to this article from CNN, they said that it's still about 3.83 cases for every million doses. So let me get my calculator out. So you'll see this 3.83 divided by 1 million. Okay? Then multiply that by 100, and then you get the percentage. That's 0.000383%. So that's about 3.83 of 10 thousandths, point 0.3, like almost 4/10,000ths a risk of getting that of getting TTS. So it's still pretty safe. However, those at highest risk of TTS, it's more with the women at ages 30 to 49. So I still haven't found out why, but that's the age range for those who are at risk of it. All right. So another this one is from Instagram. It's run by two doctors, I think two immunologists, if I'm not mistaken. Unbiased Science podcast. I've been wanting to hear their podcast, but I've been so busy lately, so I've been just looking through their Instagrams. So they actually have a post which I actually want to share. Reason why I want to share this is because I still feel that masking is very important, even though the cases are going low. And God forbid, there's another surge coming, which I feel as though I'm a little concerned about it. Just last week I told my coworker, okay, I'm putting New York City on a watch alert, not a warning, not maybe like a code yellow, not code orange or code red, but that's I'm afraid there's going to be like a spike. So earlier this morning, Dr. Fauci talked a little bit about it. He's a little bit more optimistic. I don't know why. Okay, because I'm not seeing it with Europe and Asia, because it seems as though things are just spiking. Even also, I think Australia also spiking, and New Zealand. I have to look into that. And it's due to the BA2 subvariant, or as we call it, the stealth Omicron, that I talked a little bit about on the last stream. So it's very, very important that we be prepared, okay? And we cannot get rid of our masks, okay? This would be more like a limited thing, just as a maybe preventative measure, or if there's an outbreak going on. So it's not going to be like back in 2020 or around 2021, where we had to continuously wear the mask, whether we're outside or inside, especially inside. So according to them, school districts with an optional or no masking had about 3.6 times the rate of in-person school cases compared to those who mandate masks. And they even added on their post that that during the Delta surge, there were 72% fewer cases of in-person transmission in schools. That's almost three quarters as compared to those who have no masking or optional masking. So that's the information. They also said something about in school transmission was about 10% of total cases. I think that really depends on where you are. So it's could the the the, the one I'm concerned about is that there could be some cases that go unreported. Okay, so someone just did a test with a home kit and then whoop, didn't report it. All right. So another thing I found out: New York State's approaching about 70,000 deaths since the start of the pandemic. Since the very first case in March 1st of 2020, that's a lot of deaths. So even though things are slowing down a bit, we still need to be vigilant. So I still have to I still have to pay attention with I call them checkpoints. So summer 2022 is the first checkpoint. Hopefully we don't get one of those crazy high surges, but we have to prepare just in case. All right. Now, if it's not too much of a surge, whew, okay, good. All right. So I think reason why maybe Dr. Fauci is saying that the surge won't be as high is simply because, and this is just a guess, that a lot of people are vaccinated and or attained natural immunity. Right. That being said, I've heard, and this is kind of hearsay. I heard somewhere that I think for those with healthy immune systems, when they get natural immunity from COVID, it lasts about 6 months. But again, you know, I need to see a study for that one, but I've heard it somewhere. All right, and plus it's different. Everyone's different, so so it and the studies don't seem to be I need to see more information basically. All right. So there is another one. This one is by Dr. Liz Marnick in Instagram. Her Instagram handle is Science Wizliz. So Science Wizliz, no spaces, and the great thing about it is the great thing about it is that she had this post the about Pfizer vaccine, the mRNA vaccine turning RNA to turn like an mRNA vaccine changing DNA, which really doesn't make sense from the very beginning. It really doesn't. Okay, DNA is always going to be in the nucleus. How can it leave the nucleus? Number one. Number two, like when you give an mRNA vaccine, how does an mRNA get into a cell and change DNA? It doesn't make sense. All right, RNA has to go through all these hurdles just to get through the nucleus, and the nucleus is has its barrier as well. That's a phospholipid bilayer, just like with the cells. Like seriously. All right, and mRNA is not a very stable component of it, even though it's an active ingredient. It's not very stable because it just does its job, and then poof, gone. That's it. I don't understand. That's why, in case of the Pfizer vaccine, actually both Pfizer and Moderna, you have to freeze them. Pfizer, you have to freeze it in a special freezer, and Moderna you use a regular freezer. But of course, you have to thaw them, before you use them. So, that's because it's that unstable at even refrigerated temperatures. It needs to be frozen in order to in order to increase its shelf life. All right, so based on that, vaccines are still safe. I know that. I've done my research of it. Your DNA is safe too, which will always be in the nucleus. Okay, RNA is made in the nucleus. In now, I'm not gonna go too much crazy. I'm not gonna go too crazy on that. I'm just gonna give the summary of it. RNA is made in the nucleus by way of the RNA polymerase, because is used like a DNA is basically a zipper. All right, I don't know if I have the zipper here. Oh, okay, so alrighties. So you have this. So I'm just gonna go like here. This is a zipper over here, right? So this is the DNA. So there are actually two kinds of polymerases. There's a DNA polymerase. So what it'll do is it'll unzip that DNA. So the DNA is here, over here, and then this is the enzyme. So in this case of RNA polymerase, it'll go here, and then this will open up. See these over here? I'm trying here with this one. And then you get these another enzyme that will make these bases, and then it'll just make RNA from these templates over here. Okay. If that's the clearest I can give. All right. So the next thing is that mRNA cannot get into the nucleus and change DNA. That's not how it works, okay? But yeah, and also RNA is made in the nucleus, but it leaves the nucleus to make proteins. So I've explained that one. Okay, so there is something that could change into it, but I'll get into it. So mRNA cannot get into nucleus and change DNA. There has to be a lot of things that get into it. Okay, normal human cells do not have reverse transcriptase enzymes to turn it into DNA. Okay, if it's possible to make it into DNA. And the other thing is that you need to get that DNA into the nucleus. Okay, so you have the mRNA vaccine, and then you have these enzymes that can make proteins from mRNA. So basically, as I said a lot of streams ago, that mRNA is basically a blueprint. It's basically like a little recipe for the body to make the protein out of. Okay, and in this case, making the spike protein, and then the immune system will say, "Hey, what is this doing here? That's an enemy. Let's attack it." That kind of thing. And as I said, even if it turns into DNA, it would need a way to get into the nucleus and then get into the existing DNA. But there was no mechanism explained. And also, this was done in vitro in a lab using cell lines. So it's cells that are made from lots of generations ago. Okay. And they use it in a lab just for safety reasons. So they want to make sure, obviously, that it's safe before we can actually put it in a person's body, right? That's why we do these things in the lab, okay, in vitro, or maybe we'll even use it in mice, for example. That's as close as we can go. That's in the body, in vivo. But in this case, this was done in vitro, okay, using cell lines. And if it's safe, then they can go in vivo, and then they would test it on probably animals first. In this case, maybe rats. And then if it's safe in rats, maybe we can do it with humans. So specifically, they used liver cancer cell lines, not normal human cells, and these cell lines were exposed to high doses. So it doesn't really give a real picture, so to speak. And from what I'm seeing here, like hydroxychloroquine, doing it in the lab rather than with participants doesn't always yield the same results. So obviously, you do it in the lab first. So if it's safe to do so, then you do it in with a few amount of participants first, just to see if it's safe. And then if it's safe to do so, then you can do other studies with larger amount of participants. So, anyway, so we have to do this again. I have to explain this again because you guys pretty ignorant and all right, so vaccines have the mRNA, all right? In this case for Pfizer and Moderna. This goes to cells in your body, and those cells read the message, and then they make, and basically it's a recipe, and then they make a protein out of that. Johnson and Johnson's vaccine is a little different. So it's a viral vector, they call it. And what they'll do is they'll put that genetic material in a, how would you call this? It's in some kind of a cold virus, okay? And what it does is they would also in the body it would also make proteins out of that too. So it's kind of similar, but the roots are kind of different. But in this case, we're going to focus on mRNA. So the proteins in the body makes using the mRNA from the vaccine. So the proteins are made. So the thing is, it doesn't need to get a portion of a virus. Okay. So now, when the proteins are made, the body will recognize like, that's a spike protein that's from COVID. So once COVID comes in, before it does its damage, the immune system will detect it. So, it'll attack it. What it'll do is it'll think it's a COVID virus and they'll attack it. But, you're not being exposed to COVID. That's why you get the symptoms. Okay, common ones would be fever. Okay, the arm pain is something else. Some people get fever, they get chills, they get headaches, they get tired, those kinds of things. So, where do I say? Okay, I just said that already. So, if you do get exposed to COVID and you're already vaccinated, and it takes about 2 weeks to reach that peak immunity, then your immune system will respond. Okay. So just to emphasize, the mRNA stays outside of the cell nucleus and the DNA is always going to be in the nucleus. mRNA outside, DNA inside nucleus. Okay. After they use the mRNA, you just throw it away like a tissue. That's it. Done. That's how unstable it is. So I hope you learned something. But anyway, I will be right back. Does it work? Does it? Let me see. That's weird. So let's see. Oh my goodness. Oh, things happen. I thought I got this fixed. Oh boy. Anyway, so let me see. It's live. It's live. The it's one of my moments today. I just wish I could do this, But anyway, but let's see. Is it fixed? Come on, fix. Make sure it's fixed. Freak. Maybe it works now. Let's see. Yeet. We do this live. So OBS is acting a little weird. It's jumping. Like, what? No, come on, man. I hate it when it does that. Okay, anyway, screw it. So, we do the subway stuff, alright? And it's a little... What are you doing? Wait. Why is it acting like this? Maybe it works now? Okay, so, alright. So we're gonna go into what is it, the ongoing, alright? So there's gonna be an update for the subway stuff for Monday morning. So, but this is what I got so far. Alright. So you already know 2 and 3 trains skip Clark Street, right? Until April. All right, we don't know when in April, so that's next month. All right, so next one is some of the northbound 4 trains will be express between 167th Street and Burnside. Well, so those trains that skip those 3 stops, it will stop at Burnside and then go back to Manhattan. And then next thing is northbound 4 train skips Marshalloo Parkway. The nighttime ongoing, we're still dealing with the stupid 7 train advisory. So the bus runs between Queensboro Plaza and Vernon Boulevard Jackson Avenue, while the 7 train, there's no 7 train west of Queensboro Plaza. So no 7 train between 34th Street and Queensboro Plaza. S train will run, and there's going to be a bus between Hudson Yards and Times Square. Okay. And the next thing is the L train during the daytime, 11 a.m., 3 p.m. Oh. Oops. Okay. So over here, down here on the L train in Brooklyn, splits at Broadway Junction. Okay, there's actually less frequency in this part between Broadway Junction and Canarsie Rockaway Parkway. Also, at nighttime, 23rd Street, 9th Street on the PATH trains are closed for some maintenance. And also it's also not in the map, but I've stated this on the previous stream. So the Hudson Bergen Light Rail skips Bergen Line Avenue. So you're gonna need to use supplemental bus service. So that's in the Bergen County in New Jersey. Okay. Next thing, I'm gonna go for daytime, and the westbound 7 train is express between Metz Willets Point and 74th Street Broadway, but it will stop at Junction Boulevard. Next thing is the 6 train. So northbound 6 train is local in the Bronx. Southbound 6 train is local between Hunts Point Avenue and 3rd Avenue, 138th Street. I don't know if there's any express service going on there other than just the regular schedule. Next thing, we go to Brooklyn and the B and Q trains over here. So the southbound B and Q stops at Avenue U and Neck Road. Northbound B and Q trains skip those two stations. Next thing is the N train. Southbound N trains express between Astoria Boulevard and Queensboro Plaza. We'll skip all these 4 stops. In addition to that, the W train will be running between Whitehall Street, and instead of going to Astoria, it's going to follow the Q train to 96th Street. So that's 9:45 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. We go to nighttime. In the Bronx, early on, the 5 train starting 8 p.m. until 5 a.m. The 5 train will only run between Dyer Avenue and East 180th Street. Next thing is, and the 1 and 2 and 3 trains, oh boy, here comes the doozy here. Southbound 1 and 2 skips 86th Street and 79th Street. In addition to that, south of 42nd Street, the 1 and 2 trains will go local, as you'll see here. Also, sticking with the 2 trains, Jackson Avenue, so southbound 2 trains will skip Jackson Avenue. There is a shuttle bus that goes between Jackson Avenue and 149th Street Grand Concourse. And it'll make a stop at 3rd Avenue, 149th Street. There's also another shuttle bus. Why is that? Because there is no 2 train between 96th Street and 3rd Avenue, 149th Street. So you're going to need to take a bus to connect all these stations here. Also, and this is starting at 9:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. Also starting at 9:30 p.m. until 5 a.m., there will not be any 3 trains, no 3 trains whatsoever. And you're going to need a shuttle bus also that runs between 96th Street to Harlem 148th Street. So, if in addition to that, the 4 train, okay, because there's no 3 train service, the 4 train will be going local starting 9:30 p.m. east of Nevin Street. So east of Nevin Street, all these lines, the 4 train's gonna run on the 3 line. 4 train will still skip Hoyt Street. Just letting you know. It's not gonna make a stop at all. Next thing is the anxiety train, the A train. Holy moly, a lot of those as well, okay? So southbound A and C trains go local between 59th and West 4th. Then it's gonna go on the F line from West 4th to J Street. And then we're gonna go westbound. Westbound A and C is expressed between Broadway Junction and Utica. You may experience some slowdowns. That's what happened to me. Okay. In addition to that, westbound A and C goes local. We'll switch to local between Utica and Hoyt Skirmerhorn Streets. In addition to that, northbound D is express between 145th Street and Tremont. So we'll skip all these stops, 155th, 167th, 170th, and 174th, 175th Streets. Also on the E and F trains, and westbound E and F is expressed between 71st and Jackson Heights, Roosevelt Avenue. By the time there's no R trains. Okay. The next thing is we're gonna get to the 4 train. And this is Northbound 4 train, skips 138th Street Grand Concourse. In addition, southbound, whoa, what was that? In addition, southbound 4 and 6 trains, they go express between 42nd Street over here and Brooklyn Bridge. But it will stop at 14th Street Union Square. And also, this is only for March 23rd and 24th, 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. So it's only for those 2 nights. Eastbound E and F trains will go local between Lexington. So each year, F train from Lexington 63rd and E train from Lexington 53rd, and it's gonna go local. All right, it'll stop at 36 Steinway, 46 Northern, and 65th Street. All right, so it's a short stream. It's okay. So that's the subway maps, and I'm gonna start rating because it is 12:33 p.m. and I'm gonna sleep because I have work in about a little more than 9 hours. So let's see who has the least amount of viewers. And also they're my friends too. Let's see who I can raid. I don't even know what Elden Ring is. You know what? Let's do it anyway. Let's raid my friend Claire. Let's do this. I don't know how to spell raid. And then it's Claire. She is an artist. She also plays games too. So there'll be times where she does her homework assignments or projects, and she'll do it live. So, go follow her as well. All right. So, in the words of DJ Nikki Zem, have a great day or have a great night, depending on when you're watching this stream or this YouTube video. And always stay healthy and safe. And I will see you this Friday. Peace. Have a good one.